Hi everyone, the Touchline report is back with another episode with some great and bad news actually. With the Super League and everything that happened this week, so we have a lot to talk about. So stick with us in this bumpy ride because we have a very interesting podcast today.
Yeah. So first we'll be talking about the Super League, obviously, one of the worst parts about football this week. About Agnelli and Perez, how they almost killed football in like 2 days, but then, obviously their plan went down the drain. So what do you think about the Super League? Obviously everyone knows everyone's thoughts. It's disgusting. No one likes it. Everyone's against it. What are your specific thoughts?
So of course, I'm against it because it's a close league. But yeah, firstly, I think it's good if we try to understand how it would work. So, of course, we know like it has those uh, 12 founder clubs, and they wanted to have more, three more. I think that they were probably thinking that the Bayern, Dortmund, and PSG would accept the invite, so they would have 15 founder clubs, and they then would have more five clubs which would be probably invited. And basically just comment about the structure. You can clearly see that it's based on the top of the pyramid, and we wouldn't see like I don't know, just pointing Ajax, for example, or Porto or Benfica. Only these three teams have eight Champions Leagues, which is more than Inter, Juventus, Bayern, Arsenal, and if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
this
Manuel, I think you're
this
cutting out a bit.
that in a Super League, in a league like this, we wouldn't see, for
Yeah, Manuel, I think you're cutting out a bit. You can try rejoining. I'll continue. So, basically, the Super League, obviously, everyone has the same thoughts. It's really disgusting. And yeah, it's just really disgusting. No one likes it, obviously. You know, um, Agnelli and Perez, they just wanted as Manuel was saying, 15 founding clubs. They wanted, a lot of Premier League clubs, Bayern, and they thought Bayern Munich and Dortmund and PSG were going to join them, but I really respect them for declining the invite. You know, I think it was really strong of them to do it. And now, basically, there are only two teams left, and now, yeah, I think it crashed really fairly quickly. I'm very happy about that. The fans showed their voice, and yeah, I think that we got our point through. Now, Manuel can return to his point. He's back.
So sorry guys, like I was saying, we don't have these smaller clubs, the so-called smaller clubs. Was like I mentioned, they have more Champions League from most of these founders clubs of this Super League. So it kind of shows a bit what how they are disrupting football with this idea. But I just wanted to point out that this idea, this new super league, it will be also financially supported by JP Morgan, and they would inject about 3.5 billion euros at the start, but in the following years they would have to pay each year about two, 250 million euros per year. um, if we just go through basically by each club and try to think why they would try to join such a idea like this, we can like basically look for to most of the English clubs, and they all have American owners. Which are normally used to a different type of model and franchise leagues and all of that with no relegation. And if we basically look to Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool, probably the three most important clubs in the development of this Super League. I think probably, I don't know. I don't have any inside information, but yeah, probably they would be the ones pushing to that, especially because they these owners, they are used to no relegation, and if they want to get to the Champions League, they would have to deserve it. They would have um, to play well in the domestic league. Although, in my opinion, they have a lot of spots for the Champions League, but they would have to perform well on the pitch and deserve to be on the Champions League, and they want to basically cut these risks. Uh, in my opinion, Manchester City, Chelsea, and Tottenham kind of just follow the other clubs because they are the so-called big six, and they are big clubs um, in football, in the world of football. Although if we look at Tottenham, they haven't win a trophy in like 12 years. But yeah, okay, if you think you are a big club, yeah, it's fine. And I think they just followed the rest of the clubs because they didn't want to be left behind from this probably what would be the future um, of football. I think the same happened probably with Inter, probably with Athletic Madrid too. The rest of the clubs, for example, AC Milan, which is owned by like a vulture fund, which basically means that this kind of funds take distressed companies and they try to make as much money as possible. So I think just by that we can see that they are the owners. They don't care about football, and probably they just saw the money and they wanted to join. I think Juventus is a clear case. We all know the man behind all of this, Agnelli, chairman of Juventus, chairman of the European Club Association, which supposedly represents about uh, 250 clubs, but it's more or less it represents the big clubs, probably 15 clubs, or these 15 clubs, this supposed 15 clubs that would form this, that would be the founders. And he basically at the same time was negotiating a new model for the Champions League, and also preparing this so-called European Super League. And like the president of UEFA already said, like he never saw someone lie so many times. And I it's like he was playing at the same times in two different places, trying to negotiate a different model that we'll talk about later, and also trying to develop this European Super League. Then if you look to Real Madrid and Barcelona, Florentino Perez said that this is necessary to save football, that if the top of the pyramid have money, the bottom will also get. But this Super League, we don't know like any details, but supposedly it doesn't have any kind of um, redistribution system of money, and it's also uh, um, closed league, not based on merit and sportive success. So it kind of cuts the other clubs, of course. And but these two clubs, he said that they have suffered a lot big losses and they needed money and all of that. But if we look to both clubs, they have huge debts, and it's not something that comes from COVID. Like I think Barcelona, if we start by Barcelona, they have about like 1 billion debt or something like that. And if we do like a kind of timeline from Barcelona, they had Pep Guardiola has a coach from like 2008 till 2012, and from that time they enjoyed the big success. They They won a lot of trophies, and this helped the club to get more money and buy good players. So as the sportive side was working, the financial side also worked. And okay, it's normal. These two sides in football clubs are completely connected. But if you want to have success, you have to try to separate them as much as you can. You can't depend. You can't make the financial success depend too much on the sportive success. And these clubs were clearly uh, depending on their sportive success. I mean, Real Madrid this season didn't spend any money on new players, but in the previous season they spent about like 15 million euros just trying to build a new generation of Galacticos. And I mean, they have lost two times in the last 3 years on the road of 16 of the Champions League. They are now back to the semifinals, but they have played really well in the international football. Like Barcelona, the same thing. I mean, like since Guardiola left, they had five managers. They only won one time the Champions League, and the rest is domestic trophies. I think two La Ligas, if I'm not mistaken, and it's not that much. They had this competition would be just a way to get them money without them deserving it. And because they have been trying to they have been kind of manage the clubs, or at least they have been investing a lot of money, and that's why they are in this situation. Real Madrid has been rebuilding their stadium, like eight, I think it's 80 millions. Uh, all the work, and they got a loan for that. I think they have to pay it until 2023, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they have made investments. They have put themselves in this situation. They just want a free ticket from this situation, and a free ticket to a competition in which they will not get there by merit, which is kind of sad. Like, I mean, Agnelli said a couple of days ago that Atalanta should have never played in the Champions League because they don't have history. And now it's like now playing in international competition, it's a birthright. I know they don't have to play to deserve it. Yeah, probably you you think the same like me. And
Yeah, very similarly. As you said, it's all about the money now. All the presidents, all they want is the money. And as you just said, Agnelli, Atlanta shouldn't be in the Champions League because they don't have history. It doesn't matter about history. It matters about how you performed in the current season. Like Real Madrid has so much history that he's saying if they, let's say they got 12th this year in La Liga, they would still qualify for the Champions League next season because they have history. But that's not how it works, because it matters about how you play in the current season. It doesn't matter about your history. History means so much, but it doesn't mean a lot when you're playing in current competitions. Champions League is about how you do in current competitions. Europa League is how you do about in current competitions. Everything is now in current competitions. Brazil has the most World Cups. If they didn't qualify for the World Cup in 2020 next year, and they would still get in because they have history. It doesn't make sense. They have history. I understand that. Everyone's understand that. They're one of the best national teams in the world today and of all time, maybe the best. But that doesn't mean they just automatically get to go to the World Cup. You can't automatically give them the World Cup trophy because they're the best. They have to be the best currently. And you know now they're just taking 15 teams, trying to take 15 teams, just play them against each other all year long. That's it. Just best team against the best team. You don't get to play in your domestic league. You don't get to play in any other European competition. Your players don't get to play in any other competition. It's just like, it's silly. It doesn't make sense. I just think this is not worthy of football. Football is just such a beautiful sport. They're just trying to kill it, destroying it, all because of one thing, just because of money. And I can't agree with it at all.
yeah, yeah, I mean, and they want free tickets for everything just because they think because they say that they are big
The
clubs. I
best.
mean, and
Yeah.
like, of course, this kind of awakes UEFA because there's a lot of work to do and that's why we will talk about also the Swiss model, and we'll talk about it later, and I'll explain my opinion about it. But there's a lot of work to do, but this is not the way. Closed league where clubs will get there just because they have history. It doesn't make sense, and it kind of it kind of shocks me because football it's about the fans, and you can't do this with the fans. Like football is a sport of the fans, although we have a lot of clubs that they are not fan known. The club wouldn't exist if they didn't have fans. It doesn't matter the number; it could be a small number, a big number, but it wouldn't exist if there isn't anybody to support the club. And yeah, that like another thing that I wanted to point out is that, for example, just think I think it was in 2016 when Leicester won the Premier League. They didn't deserve to be in the Champions League in the next season just because they won the Premier League for the first time, or they don't have so many as many trophies as the other clubs. Doesn't make sense. Like
Yeah, they did well
and
in that current season. They got first. They were the best English team in all of England, so they deserve to be in the Champions League more than Liverpool, more than any other team, because they were the best.
yeah, and I think we are just like scratching the surface of this new project because we don't know any details. I think the only thing that is known is that in commercially talking, they would each club would be able to sell part of their TV rights by themselves, which probably they are very interesting on that. Just by looking to Premier League, it's collective sales of TV rights. Some for Spain, pretty recent, but it works like that too. And yeah, there is probably a lot behind it, like related to money and like all these broadcasting
Definitely.
deals and all of that. We don't know. It would be interesting to have the details actually, but it's not the way to basically delete the sport merit from football.
Yeah, it's all about the money. It's not even about football anymore. Now the fans have to come up. They have to do all the work. They have to stop it. And yeah, it's just it's just a disgrace. Agnelli and Perez, disgrace to football. They should definitely step down. They should completely get out of football. In my opinion, they don't deserve to do anything with football anymore. It's just not right.
Yeah, no words for that. It's been crazy days this week, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing now that there's only two teams left. They'll probably drop down as soon as Agnelli and Perez want to drop down. It's very unlikely that they'll do it, but eventually I think enough pressure will be put on them that they'll just step down from their positions from the club and from the positions in the Super League, and hopefully that'll happen soon.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out another thing. I'm always pointing things, but this is something that I didn't research for it. Someone that I know called about it. Like he found it. He knows a little bit about um like the legal side of the game, and I probably should know more about too because I said it, but I didn't remember to go check it any like legal handbook of FIFA. But he checked the FIFA statutes, and if you go to the 22 article number 22, it's about the confederations, and in I think it's point number 3, and probably yeah is point number 3. One of the things in which they touch, they say that Uh, sorry, I have to. Okay. It says that each confederation has to ensure that international leagues or any other such group of clubs or leagues shall not be formed without its consent and approval of FIFA. So legally, this probably won't be possible.
Yeah,
And just to, if we go to also to the UEFA statutes, it also have a part talking about the leagues, clubs licensing, and all of that. And in the article 7b, it says about in point number 3, which is about leagues and combinations. It says that leagues or any other group of clubs at member association level with the association express consent and shall be subordinated to it. It then says that the association status shall define the powers apportioned to any such group, as well as its rights and obligations. It ends saying that the status and the regulations of any such group shall be subject to the approval of the association. So, of course, there are rules in each association that don't permit this, and they don't give the powers for these clubs to do what they have done. So it's going to be interesting because I think that there will be a lot of probably sanctions, I don't know, and a lot of like problems in justice because uh, all clubs, if we look at their statements when they announced that they left the Super League, for example, Manchester City, the first one, they said that they had started the process. So there of course there must be any contracts or already signed, and probably also with JP Morgan and all of that there is for sure any kind of contracts. And yeah, they are going to pay a fee for to leave this league, I don't know, because probably it's not legal, like I mentioned in these articles of the FIFA statutes and the UEFA statutes. You can go check them out. And it says that they can do this kind of stuff. It's not allowed. The FIFA didn't allow it. Member associations didn't allow it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting and it's going to be messy for sure.
Yeah, when you look in the rule books, it's actually illegal now that you say it. Now, it could have a court date to follow. Agnelli and Perez and other people that were associated with this could possibly go to court, possibly go to jail for breaking, FIFA law. So yeah, that's also another big thing. It's just illegal according to FIFA rulebook. So yeah, they just can't make a totally new league without FIFA's consent. So yeah, it's something big. Okay, next we can talk about the Swiss model. So I think we talked about that in our first episode, where there are more teams now, more group stage games. So what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, in the middle of all of this mess, this new model has been approved, which I don't think it's the way to. But yeah, just we already mentioned in the first episode, it's basically adding four more teams, and instead of a group model, you have a league model, and each team will play 5 games away and at home. And then we have like I think it's the first 8 will advance automatically for the next phase, and then the other 16 teams they will play playoff to get 8 more teams. But okay, my points about it, I don't think this is the way. I think the current model it doesn't work at all. It needs to be changed. I mean, it's like UEFA is trying to get out of a hole, and they are just digging deeper and deeper. They have announced like pretty not pretty recently, but some years ago or 1 year ago or two, the Conference League, which is going to start next year, and I have a lot of questions also about that because it's like you putting a bandage in something that is hurt. You are not like you are not saving it or taking care of it just because you put a bandage. And it's the Conference League is like it also works like that, and this Swiss model can also be seen like that because uh, first, quickly about the Conference League, it will be a third competition. It will help for smaller teams from smaller leagues that now that don't get directly to the Champions League. In the past, they probably would because they were champions in their domestic leagues. probably to play at international level. But now that how UEFA distributes the money between Europa League and Champions League is 20% for the Europa League, and the rest is like almost 80% for the Champions League, and like 0.3% or something like that is the to the European Super Cup. So how they are going to work this money distribution? Are they going to take money of the Champions League? Are they going to take money of the Europa League? I mean, Europa League clubs in Europa League don't receive that much money. It's like really small amount
Yeah.
that they receive. And how they are going to fit this third competition in the calendar, I don't know too. And I raise the same questions to this new Swiss model. Like, for more teams, I don't think that's the way for sure. Especially they because they want to give one more place to the French league. So the five top leagues will have each league four places in the Champions League, like four clubs in the Champions League. It's a lot. I think it's a lot of clubs for this list, but okay. And they want to give two other spots from the clubs that if they finish, I think it's between fifth and seventh. They if they perform well in the past years, they will get a spot in the Champions League. Like it's more on it's an open league, but it's also giving almost a free ticket for a lot of teams to play in this competition. Another thing is the number of games. Like more teams, more games. Like in the place of the group stage, instead of playing six games, which is quite a lot, they will play 10 games. And I mean, Pep Guardiola already mentioned pretty recently that Manchester City hasn't has been playing for like about 8 months, like at the weekend, then Wednesday, then again at the weekend, then Wednesday for 8 months. Like how do you expect like players to perform, teams to perform in a environment like this? Like they will have to put weaker teams playing in the domestic league, or they will have to switch more their teams, and it will decrease the quality of the product. Like if putting more games in the end, probably it would not increase the value of the product. You have more games, it's good for broadcasting and all of that, but the quality would not be the same. I mean, in my opinion, it's all about it's too many games, and the top leagues have too many teams. In my opinion, at the start, Champions League it used to be something just for the champions. But yeah,
Yeah, once again, they're getting the teams from how they played in past performances. I just, I don't know. It can't stick with me. I don't like it. It matters on how you perform now in this season currently. It doesn't matter how you do 1, 2, 3 years ago. It matters how you do now. I do think that of getting more teams from the French league is good because I think the French league is quite underrated. You know, they have a lot of good teams along with PSG. there's there's Lille, Monaco, who have been doing well recently. Lyon. I think those are all great teams. I think they can all, I think more of them deserve to be in the Champions League. So I think four French teams is the right amount to be in the Champions League. Though I think 10 games in the group stage, I still think that's way too much. You know, Jurgen Klopp was also saying, as you said, Pep Guardiola already said. Jurgen Klopp was also saying that already so many games are going on for the top teams. For example, like there's for the example Liverpool, there's Carabao Cup, there's Premier League, there's FA Cup. That's already three competitions right there. And now the plus Champions League, 6 games. Okay, we've been doing that for quite a while, but now we're adding 10 games. Where are you gonna go fit all the games in? Players are gonna be tired. They're gonna be exhausted. Plus training, plus other tournament games, plus other competition games. It's gonna really tire out the players, and I think it's gonna really affect their performances. I think better teams will start doing worse in their own domestic leagues because they have to play more games in top competitions, for example, Champions League. And I just think 10 games is too many. And then, yeah, I can actually also affect their performances in the Champions League, whether or not they get to the round of 16. The better teams are obviously going to play in more competitions. They're going to get farther in more competitions, and if they the farther they get, the more games they have to play. So the more games they play, plus Champions League games, I just think it's too many. And yeah, that's really my thoughts on it. Because too many teams, too many games. I think 36 teams is like it's a fair amount of teams, but I think I understand why they're getting two more teams. That's from legal. That's from the French league, but once again, on past performances, the next two teams, I don't think they should do I don't think they should do that. I think past performances shouldn't matter for anything really. That's a
Yeah,
legacy. Legacy shouldn't matter for current competitions or anything like that. Whether or not you qualify, as I said before, I gave an example of Brazil. It just shouldn't matter on how you do past performances and stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense. For example, AC Milan, used to be one of the best teams in the world, probably the best team in the world at one point. Now they're one of the best teams in Europe, but now last season they didn't qualify for the Champions League. And if the Swiss model was here last season, they would have qualified because of their past performances, because of their legacy, which in my opinion really doesn't make sense. That's what makes me really angry about this new Swiss model. How they're getting these new teams and the amount of games that they're gonna have to play could affect the players' performances. And that's what makes me mad. That's what I really dislike about it.
yeah. I mean, like I agree with you. Like France deserves one more place, but I think that these five leagues already have a lot of
Yeah.
teams, and like these big clubs have already pushed a lot and pressure a lot UEFA with for a long time with this kind of idea of a super league or basically trying to get gather all of these big clubs and form their own league, and they have pushed a lot, and UEFA has changed the coefficients and all of that, and they already gain a lot of the things the way they want it, and this is model will not be the answer to again, in my opinion. I could be wrong, it could work, but I don't see it like working, and I see it basically decreasing the quality of the game and players getting even more tired. I mean, Tony Cross, I think it was last year, already talked about the amount of games the players have to play. Of course, we are talking about probably the 10% of the world of all of the world players, but they can't like they can't place that many games. It's just because they you can like argue that they receive a lot of money, but I mean it's not because they play for like imagine 15 years or something like that or 20 years. It's their career, then they don't have any more, like they don't play anymore. So I mean it's pretty short, and playing a lot of games like this, it will only increase the time that they spend injured. It will decrease probably the time they play. And another thing that you mentioned is that this they already play like the Carbo Cup and all of these cups, and probably in some clubs in with this Swiss model, like this I'm not against it, but they'll have to decrease the number of teams in each domestic league, probably to 18 leagues. Probably is the best number. Okay, probably they'll have to get rid of one of the cups, of course, the League Cup, because it's the less interesting one to have more time to fit this kind of competitions and this many games. And if they think that this is helping the all of the pyramid, it's not helping, because these small competitions like the League Cup, in which the big clubs normally are not interesting, for the smaller clubs, if they go to a certain round, till a certain round, they get a certain amount of money, really important for them, like like Marin FC got a lot of money for a club from that dimension, and getting rid of this, it will take money from these smaller clubs, and these competitions is kind of a good way to redistribute money. But yeah, like I mean, this kind of league cups could also be worked out better. They could have a different like incentivation to win this kind of competitions, like I don't know, getting to a certain phase of the Europa League, of the qualification to the Europa League group stage or something like that. It will probably motivate teams to invest more on these competitions, and they wouldn't be seen as one more competition that needs to be taken down because of a new model. But yeah,
Yeah, you just said it all. So
we
yeah,
have some
now
questions,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So let's take a break for questions quickly. Here we are, the first one from Roger Ahmed.
I was just asking because they are probably about this new model in the
Yeah.
Super League.
So here's the first one. Are any teams going to the Super League, to the new league, or are they going to stay? So, no more teams are going. Actually, a lot of teams have left. The only teams that are left, I think, I believe, are Real Madrid and Juventus because their presidents are the ones that are running it, Agnelli and Florentino Perez. But no, a lot of teams have left, and I think looking like these two teams are going to stay for a while. But obviously, we can't play a whole competition with the same game over and over again. So that obviously won't work out. We're just going to have to see how much longer until the competition really shuts down completely. Because Florentino Perez says it's on standby, but obviously everyone knows it's already dead. We're just waiting for the confirmation.
Yeah,
Next
that's
we can
it.
go. Do the players like it? I'm guessing. Do the players like the new
Super
team?
League.
Yeah. So a lot of players have spoken out already. For example, Bruno Fernandes and the Herrera from PSG. Golson's actually from Atlanta. Atlanta's not even in the Super League, but even he's speaking out. And none of them like it. None of them like the ideas. The only people that agreed to actually going to the Super League were the owners of the club. I mean, like owners, presidents, people like that. But obviously we can see that the players don't like it. The fans obviously don't like it. They've been protesting like crazy. Chelsea fans were the first to do so. The Chelsea against Brighton. They spoke out. They showed their voices. They were heard. Obviously, Chelsea were the second team to step out of the Super League. Manchester City fans didn't have to protest. I think Manchester City were just, the owner was just pressure enough to come out quickly. And, no one likes it. The managers don't like it. The staff doesn't like it. The players don't like it. And the fans don't like it, most importantly. So, no, the players definitely do not like it.
Yeah, I mean, and they all the coaches and players, they were all like surprised with this because they didn't know, like the owners didn't tell them about this and this announcement, and I think most of them probably knew get got to know about this new Super League by the news, like all of the football fans got. But yeah, I mean, we had also Ederson calling meeting between all the captains of the Premier League and all of that, and a lot of players contested. It was yeah, good to see some players coming out. I would expect more to say, but yeah, like of course they don't like it.
Yeah, definitely. And the fans obviously don't like it either. Okay, we have one more question for now. We'll come back to the rest later, but we don't have any more as of now. So last question right now. With that being said, podcast. ESL is as corrupt as the other major footballing boards. What do you think? So Manuel, you can go first.
I mean, it was like a kind of scheme to favor all of these clubs and a lot of these owners and get more money. And as we all know, most of these owners of these big clubs, they don't care about about football. I mean, Real Madrid and Barcelona, they don't have a specific owner because they are fan-owned clubs. But I mean, even this type of competition will probably benefit the presidents of each club, the president of Real Madrid, maybe. I don't know what kind of scheme it was behind it, but in the eyes of the American owners and all of the owners of the English teams, they'll probably get way more benefits from this type of competitions, and way more like American style, like they are used to. I think it were the new owners of uh, Barnley uh, that said they are American too, and they said that you have to understand the culture in which you are. So you can't just like change to this model and to which they are used to. And yeah, of course, it's kind of can say it's kind of corrupt scheme because it's to favor these big clubs and mostly these greedy owners. It's to favor them, and it's a more certain or um, a more well-known system for them, similar to the American one.
Yeah, I do think it's as corrupt as other rating footballing boards. Yeah, it's just a corrupt scheme. It doesn't make sense. A lot of the teams are now owned by, like, for example, American owners. Liverpool owner John Henry, I think he is. He's American. In my opinion, he's such a disgrace to football. When he's apologizing to the Liverpool fans, you can tell, like, it was a written script. It wasn't from his heart or anything like that. They wrote him a script. He read it off a screen or something like that. He didn't really mean the apology. Honestly, I think he should step down or something. He should just completely get out of football. None of the owners care about football. They just care about getting money. They're supplying the money to the club, but they're also taking so much money from the competitions and from the club itself. They just want money. They just want to be rich. In my opinion, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I do think it's as corrupt as the other major footballing boards. Though it's a good thing now that ESL is going down. They're not going to be here anymore. So hopefully soon we can get confirmation that Real Madrid and Juventus are going to completely be out of it as well. But we're going to have to wait because Perez and Agnelli. Perez is just not doing anything. It's on standby. He's just a crazy guy. He wants to make his own World Cup. It's not as easy as that. World Cup is such a historic thing. You can't just make your own World Cup. Perez is something else. Agnelli, he even admitted to his own mistakes. I respect that, but I still don't respect him as a person because of what he did in the Super League. So yeah, I do think it's as corrupt as other major footballing boards.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the money. I mean, all of us need money to survive, but it doesn't mean that we have to do whatever it takes to get more and more and more and step like go against a lot of people and I mean
Yeah, it hurts
get
them.
and hurt them exactly. Like it doesn't mean it has to be done with respect and with understand, and you have to understand the context in which you are. Most of these owners don't care. Like we had a news about some one of the owners that went to a game and he didn't know what was the color of his team or something like that. Like I mean,
It's unbelievable. They're only here for the money. They don't even pay attention to what's happening in actual football. They don't pay attention to the stats, who's winning, or anything like that. It's just
yeah,
it's one of the biggest disgraces some owners today. For example, like as I said, Liverpool owner John Henry, disgrace, completely he's just a complete disgrace in football. I just can't get over it. He
yeah.
should
I
just
mean,
that's when they leave Liverpool. Unbelievable.
because like the other clubs, like for example Manchester City or Chelsea, I can get what they joined because they didn't want to see the train leaving the station without them, but and probably like I think Abramovich he has a good relation with Chelsea fans and all of that, and
Yeah,
probably it was because of that they were one of the first to step down. I think they some of these clubs, probably Manchester City, probably Chelsea and Tottenham, they didn't participate in the development of the project. They were like
yeah,
invited and they felt that they had to join to don't lose the train. But
yeah,
in the end,
yeah.
they were the first to take the good decision.
Yeah, they're the first domino in the line, and it's because of them the rest of the team started coming out. I think I respect Chelsea's owner, for example, Roman Abramovich. I see him at games often. He actually follows football. I think honestly he loves the sport. And then, as you said, he has a good relationship with the fans. Other teams, however, owners complete disgraces, in my opinion. I can't. They should just leave football. It's not all about the money. It's football. It's about the fans. It's about the players, what they think. It's about how the teams do. Not always about the money. And yeah.
Yeah,
So the complete answer to your question, with that being said, podcast. Yes, the ESL was as scrapped as the other major footballing boards. Okay. Now we can talk about now we can preview the first leg of the semifinals. First, we can talk about Real Madrid against Chelsea. Obviously, everyone knows I want Real Madrid to win. I'm a big Real Madrid fan. So, who are you cheering for, and who do you think's gonna put their foot in the final?
I mean, it's going to be a game that I probably at the start of the year didn't imagine it was going to happen.
Yeah,
I am probably going to say that Real Madrid is going to the final, but I mean Chelsea with Tuchel, they have been growing a lot, playing
yeah,
way better,
incredible.
yeah, playing way better, and Real Madrid have been managing to go through to each round, playing good, but it's not the Real Madrid that we've seen in other years, and for me it's kind of strange to see this Real Madrid in the semi-finals because I don't think it's as destructive as other teams. But yeah, um, but I think Chelsea is going to be tough for them for sure, and they have been playing really well, and they know how to manage each phase of the game, and they've shown previously with Athletic Madrid, also with Porto, that they when they get the advantage, they are good managing it. So Real Madrid has to pay attention to this factor because if Chelsea scores like first and then push even harder and scores one more goal, they then will manage their advantage. And for Real Madrid, it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, now Chelsea's playing away. Can we get a score prediction from you?
Okay, score prediction. I'm going to say 1-1.
Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, so I agree with a lot of what you said. Chelsea, since Thomas Tuchel came in January, they've been absolutely brilliant. I think they've only lost two matches so far. They've either won or drawn the rest. Under him, they've been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The play they're doing, he's making Kai Havertz. He's pushing him to his full potential. Playing him as a forward. He's really showing what he's really worth his money now. As you can see, the way he's playing. Mount doing really well under Thomas Tuchel. He has most goals, most assists, most chances created under him as a Chelsea player. Conte, he's also being used really well with under Thomas Tuchel. Um, you know, he has a lot of methods at defense. Either tight three in the back and the left backs playing as midfielders as well, playing as wing backs. The way they play, they've been doing really well. I think Real Madrid, they haven't been as good as you said since in recent years, but I think in the past few months, past few games, matches, they've been doing really well. Not losing as often as they did in like past seasons after Ronaldo left. So yeah, I think Real Madrid have a good chance of winning the Champions League, of getting to the final at least. So yeah, I think Real Madrid will be able to beat Chelsea all in all. But I think my score prediction would be 2-1 Real Madrid
Okay.
because Hazard's also back. But in my opinion, I don't think he'll make too big of an impact. Hazard, he's been a waste of money in my opinion. He hasn't done much. He hasn't done anything.
Yeah, I think the only thing he has done a lot is eating. Uh, but yeah, yeah, probably 2-1 is also a good prediction. Yeah, I, I'm. I mean, I said Real Madrid to the final, but actually in this game, I'm kind of like a little bit divided. Because
Yeah,
Chelsea
it's
has
gonna be
been playing
tough.
really well, and Real Madrid has been going through each round, but they haven't been like playing a really like really really good football. Like I
Yeah,
wouldn't say it's a Champions League level football,
yeah,
but it get them to where they are.
yeah. In my opinion, the round of 16, and in the quarterfinals against Atlanta and Liverpool, I think they faced teams that they weren't as good as the other top teams in Europe as of now.
Yeah.
Liverpool have obviously been doing really bad this season, so I think that was a breeze for Real Madrid. Atlanta, a bit of a challenge in that first leg, but I think in that second leg they were able to overcome them easily. Real Madrid. So I think like Real Madrid have faced good teams, but not good teams that they're going to be facing now at this stage in the competition against Chelsea. Teams like Chelsea or City or PSG, if they do reach the final, they'll play one of those teams. So yeah,
Yeah, they probably weren't that challenging for them, and so they didn't need to push that hard and to play that well to go through. Yeah.
yeah, and now we can talk about Manchester City against PSG. In my opinion, that's going to be a better game than Real Madrid against Chelsea. Two teams that have been really good. Manchester City have been incredible all around in all competitions. PSG, they haven't been doing as well in Ligue 1, but I still think PSG have been phenomenal in this in this season of the Champions League. They've been doing really well, winning lots of games. Since the group stage, they've been doing really well. They've been facing pretty good teams. They faced Bayern Munich. They were able to overcome them. I think honestly they were the better team against Bayern Munich. So what are your thoughts? Who do you think's gonna win?
It's going to be tough to decide. It's obviously an interesting match. I mean, Manchester City have been looking for a Champions League title for a long time. The same thing for PSG, and they want to get there for the second year. For the second year, and I think probably I don't want to say that PSG is going to win because I would love to see Bernardo Silva playing on the Champions League final, but it, it's going to be tough. I mean, if I have to do a score prediction, I'll probably will say for first leg it will be of a draw. I hope it is like a 2-2 draw, and I can if I was already doing for the second leg, I would say like it's going to be a draw too because they are both two good teams, and yeah, actually it's really difficult to decide. But just to pick one, I'm going to go with Manchester City.
Yeah, I'm
And
waiting. Yeah, go on.
no, I was just going to say like probably a draw. I don't know, like 1-1, 2-2, as many goals as possible at least.
Yeah, yeah, I just want a good game between these two. I want Real Madrid to win. It doesn't matter how much or how little Real Madrid win against Chelsea. I just want Real Madrid to win. But with Manchester City against PSG, then I don't favor either team. So I just want a good game between both teams in both legs. Lots of goals, lots of chances. Drama obviously. That's Champions League. So yeah, I just want a good game between the two. My prediction for this game will be Manchester City against PSG. I'm gonna say 2-2. 2-2.
Yeah, it would be lovely to see that result.
Yeah, lots of goals. It'll be
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
yeah, it's going to be also interesting in the point of view that Manchester City always plays with the ball and tries to get as much possession of the ball as they can, and
Yeah,
PSG plays really well in counter attack, as we
yeah,
already seen from the past game. So it's going to be interesting to see because they don't need to have the ball that many time to so much time to do a attack and score a goal.
yeah. Manchester
But
City is all about maintaining possession.
yeah, and uh, PSG with those three players at the front. I mean Neymar, Di Maria, and Mbappe. They do everything for the team. So and they are the three of them. They are really quick when they get the ball. They always know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's like almost it's planned out exactly what's gonna happen, who they're gonna pass to, when they're gonna take the shot, how they're gonna get around the defenders. Yeah. Manchester City is all about maintaining possession, keeping possession, and then hitting the ball up. playing nicely with the forwards. You know, tiki taka, pass, 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 and then when there's a chance, just bolt up to take a few shots. PSG is just about when we get the ball, when we're in the back, when we get the ball, we sprint up, hit the ball forward. Our three forwards are there. They're gonna be counterattacking. They're gonna be the three players that are at the second half of the field, and they'll be the ones scoring the goals for the team. So yeah, I think two very different sides, but we're gonna see a very good game.
Yeah, it's like they kind of fit each other, like the different
Yeah,
styles. They are kind of opposite in a way.
yeah, and
I'm excited
opposites
for
gonna
that
be
game.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
as am I. So now we're gonna talk about some big news that we heard on Monday. Jose Mourinho got sacked by Spurs. Reports have come in that he got sacked because he wasn't supporting the Super League, but obviously, he's also a bad run of form with Spurs for the past few months. Since like November, they've been doing poorly. Sitting in I think seventh is now, really struggling for a Champions League, even a spot in Europe. They're really struggling. So yeah, we're gonna tell you guys our three possible candidates. Each of us are gonna say three managers that we think will take over at the end of the season for Spurs, and yeah, what they'll bring to the table. You can go first, Manuel.
Okay. S- Sorry, guys. So my first pick. I don't know if by saying this I'm breaching the rules of this game, but I think although Ryan Mason would only stay till the end of the season, there is, in my opinion, when these kind of things happen, there is always the chance of these interim managers, of them convincing the board and actually
Yeah,
with good results during until the end of the season, convincing and the board and staying there permanent, yeah, for like more years and with a full contract. So my first pick would be Ryan Mason. If okay, he performs well, he might get the job. Then my second pick is one that has been uh, rumored a lot of times, and it's Julian Nagelsmann, the RB Leipzig coach. And I think it would be very interesting to see what he does with Tottenham and what he can bring to the table. At RB Leipzig, he plays a really interesting football, and I would love to see him kind of adapt or try to bring that style to Tottenham and see how that would work in the Premier League and how Tottenham would take advantage of it.
yeah,
Then my last pick, it's going to be one manager of the Premier League because I think there's always the chance of Tottenham looking to the domestic market, and in the past they have done that with Pochettino. So I'm going to point out to the Wolverhampton coach Nuno Espírito Santo. I don't know if it's not I'm not saying it because it's Portuguese. I'm saying it because I think he's a good coach, and I was kind of trying to go through the to all the coaches of the Premier League and trying to see what would be interesting ones, and some of the coaches that have proven that they are good in the past, not this season only. And I mean, we have Nuno Espírito Santo would be a good option for Tottenham. I don't know if it is going to happen. Probably it's very unlikely, but yeah, it's my third pick.
yeah. Actually, I picked Nagelsmann and Nuno as well. So my first pick, I think the best pick for Spurs as of now would be Nagelsmann. He did surprisingly well with the terrible Hoffenheim. Then he went to Leipzig. There, he took the German side to new heights. He was just, my opinion, he was incredible. His different positional play on the pitch has impacted, today's modern tactics in all. And in my opinion, I just have two words, two main themes to describe Ninja's. He's brave and he has ingenuity. I think he's just brilliant. He's a good thinker, good manager. He's young. He does well. I think he communicates uh incredibly with the young players. He understands them, so I think he can be a perfect fit for Spurs. Second, I actually didn't say. I said Massimiliano Allegri, Juventus's former manager. Somehow he hasn't. He's still unemployed. He's still not a manager. So I think his legacy speaks for itself. Two Champions League finals, one Serie A title with AC Milan in 2011, and five Serie A titles with Juventus. He's tactically versatile. He's pragmatic, and he always knows how to play different positions for the players. He always plays them in different positions, whatever they can do best. He's always trying new things, and he knows how to play different opponents based on their own skill set. So I think he'd be Spurs' second best choice as a manager. And lastly, you already said him, Nuno Espirito Santo. I think he's shown what he can do with Wolves in the Premier League. He's taken a championship teams and he made them. He's cemented them in the Premier League. They play like a Premier League team. They play like one of the best teams in England, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's time for Nuno gets a new challenge. And what better chance than a manager needing Spurs of like such a poor form Spurs? They really do need Nuno in my opinion. His three at the back system clearly shows how counter attacking football can come from nothing. And with Kane and Son, counter attacking football would be so beautiful at Spurs. Their attack would be one of the best in the world with Kane and Son and three in the back there, and plus Bale for the rest of if you just choose to say once for another season. So I think Bale, Son, and Kane counterattacking football would just be so beautiful under Nuno. And in my opinion, he's not like a permanent manager. In my opinion, I think he's more of a 1 to 2 year manager. You can stay there, get Spurs back on track, and then he can leave to go to another club, and then they can get another permanent manager. But in my opinion, he's not a permanent manager to stay at Spurs. In my opinion, he's more of a temporary manager just to get Spurs back on track. So yeah, those are my three managers. Ours was very similar. I had Allegri, and then you had
Yeah,
to keep Ryan Mason.
yeah. I mean, I thought of Allegri, but I wanted to put this option because I don't know. You never know what's happening in football, and
Yeah,
it can be an option. We've seen this type of situations in other clubs throughout the history, so it can happen. Probably I breached the rules of the game, but of this game of picking three coaches, but it's always an option.
yeah, they're all options. Allegri's been free for almost 3 years now. It's just incredible. No one's went and trying got him as a manager yet. He has so much history. He's such a great manager, a legendary manager in football. All in all, I just can't wait for him to be a manager again. I just can't wait to see him directing a team. I really like his style of play. I miss him at Juventus. When they're one of the best teams in the world now, they're struggling for a Champions League spot in Syria, and they're
Yeah.
Pirlo. Okay. Lastly, what we've been waiting for quite a while. We're going to be talking about how the U.S. national team and the Portuguese team are building up such a great team now. With all the new players for U.S. Pulisic, McKennie doing really well under Juventus this season. He's going to stay on a permanent deal with Juventus now. He signed a professional contract. He's not going back to Schalke. Giovanni Reina from Dortmund. Great attacking midfielder. Ja Brooks from Wolfsburg, great solid defender. Stefan from America. Stefan from City. He's a good goalkeeper. He's a decent one. So yeah, I think they're building a really good team, and obviously the Portuguese team building up a great team. Bruno Fernandes, is really showing what he's capable of. João Felix, young, still very talented. So what are your thoughts on all these teams and all these players?
So I mean, for me, I'll start by the American one. It's been very interesting to see a lot of new players appearing in the European top leagues. I mean, even in Portugal, there are now some American players, which is quite interesting. And yeah, I mean, we can first look to Pulisic. For me, the best American player right now. He has proved himself in Dortmund, and now he's proving himself again in Chelsea. Then we can look at more young options like Giovanni Reina. Can I don't know. You have like you said. Um, they have also a good goalkeeper, although it's a second option from Manchester City, but it's a good goalkeeper too. So they have Serginho Dest too, also a good option now playing in Barcelona, and it's going to be very interesting to see in the future. And probably I would love. I would I would expect them to qualify to the next World Cup, and it's going to be very interesting if they actually qualify, because although if we compare to Portugal, they don't have yet like the team built. Portugal is they have now a really good team, but all the players have already proved themselves, and they are in a completely different phase of their careers. Like now, like in America, they have more young players, and Portugal, although it has some young players like João Felix, um, Portugal has a lot of players like Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva's. I mean, Pep is 38 years old and still playing there. Jeff Font, like 37 years old, also playing there too. Both of them really good center backs. I mean, they have also Ruben Diaz that has been playing really well uh, in Manchester City in this season, and for me, it has been a critical player for Stones actually, and with him by his side, Manchester City has been really good defensively. And we can also look to, for example, Ruben Neves, Danilo playing now in PSG too, and I could go on and on like right here with a lot of players, but most of them are already in the advanced phase of their career. They are really good players, and they have proved themselves. In the case of the U.S. national team, and it's my opinion, they are still building the team and growing, and that's why they are in different phases, but they have been evolving and developing a lot in the last years. I don't know what are your thoughts about it. Probably a bit different than mine. Probably have more
Yeah,
insight.
yeah, quite similar. Yeah, they're both building up great teams. U.S. obviously with younger players, but Portugal they have some young players as well, but they have a lot of strong players. Bruno Fernandes, I think he's 25, 26 now. He's not too old, he's not too young, but I think he's like a perfect midfielder all around in my opinion. João Felix, he's young, he's shown what he's capable of with Atletico Madrid. There's also Pedro Neto from Wolves. He's shown what he can do with Wolves. He's really great. He can play on the wing. He can play at forward as an attacking mid. I think he's shown what he's capable of. Trincao on Barcelona. Obviously he's not getting too much playing time with the competition he's getting, but I think he still plays well with Barcelona when he does come on. Makes good passes, takes shot on from time to time. I think I think he's part of the future of Barcelona, part of the future of Portugal. And yeah, I think they're both building up a really good team, the U.S. and Portugal. And I think I just can't wait to see them. Hopefully, they both qualify for the World Cup, and I just can't wait to see them play internationally. I think it'll be really fun to watch them the way they play with all these new players. And yeah,
Yeah, and if you have to pick like two players from each nationality, like we asked to our followers, what what would be the ones that you would pick?
me
Like
for
two Portuguese, two
yeah.
Americans.
So my opinion for Americans, I'd pick Giovanni Reina from Dortmund and Sajidi Des from Barcelona. I think two very young players. I think Reina still in his teen. I think he's 18 or 19. I think he's done really well at Dortmund under Favre. The old manager before he got sacked. He was getting a lot of playing time, especially with Haaland. He was doing so well with Haaland. Making great passes to him, supplying him, Haaland supplying Reina. I think it was a great partnership. Now under the new manager, he's not getting as much playing time, but when he does come on and play, he's showing he's the talent of America. I think he's the future of America. His dad, I think, his father was also a professional footballer. So yeah, I think he's part of the future of America. So young, teenager, so talented, great right foot. So yeah, I think I can't wait to see him play. And Des, we've seen a lot of him with Barcelona since Sergio Roberto got injured earlier in the season. I think he should be the new starting right back when Roberto does come back from injury. I think he's shown what he's capable of. He's really great on that right. And he can also play left back with America because they already have in the right back. So and I think they're in need of a left back, so he could play potential left back for America. And I think this is a really good right back. Him and Messi, him and Messi actually do really well together. And whenever Messi does play on that right side, he's always switching the field, which I really like about him when he's under pressure. And he has that type of vision to go when he's being pressured. He sees other people on the other side of the pitch. He just has those instincts to play it on the other side. I think it's really cool. And for Portugal, I pick Trincao from Barcelona, Pedro Neto from Wolves. Trincao because he's a teenager. He still has so much potential. He obviously hasn't shown too much of it because he's not getting too much playing time. But I think in the future he'll get more playing time under Barcelona because I think Barcelona is starting to need more help from the younger players. They're trying to call up a lot of young players. And I think Trincao is a really good player. Oh, for his age currently, and I think he can do really well with Portugal with the team they already have with Bernardo Silva, you said Ronaldo. I think he can do really well. And Neto from Wolves, I think he's shown what he can do with Wolves. He's cemented himself as a starter already. He's quite young. I think 2021. He's a good player, all around. He's fast. He's quick. He can play well with counterattacks under Nuno. So yeah, I think he's a good player. I think he has a great strike. Lots of power in him. Lots of speed. Lots of passion for the game. I think I love to watch him play from time to time. And yeah, I think he'll do really well with the Portugal team that they have right now. What about you? Two U.S. players, two Portuguese players.
Yeah, probably that it's the same. It's more or less the same. I would only change one thing. So if I start by America, US, I would pick also Giovanni Reina, but instead of Serginho Dest, I would pick also a right back, but not Serginho Dest. I would pick Reggie Cannon,
Yeah,
which is playing in the Portuguese league right now, and he kind of uh, caught my attention when I was watching a couple of games of his team, and I think he is really promising, a really good player. He fights a lot. He doesn't give up, and I like this style of players that really fight and impose their strength in other players, and he's also really quick. So it's a good attacking right back, and I think he has a promising future. Giovanni Reina, I don't think I have to to say anything. You said everything about him. He has been so good playing for Dortmund and really important playing with Holland too. So I mean, there is no doubt that these two players are probably two of the most promising US players right now. For Portugal, I would pick exactly the two that you picked. I mean, Trincão, a really good player, really promising. He played for Braga. He played for their youth academy, and then he moved to Barcelona. He is very talented, in my opinion, and I love the way he moves on the field from to the center, like from the wings to the center, and I think he has a really promising future in Barcelona. I think he fits there and he fits the style of play. Now he's like you said, he's not getting that many games, but I know like Barcelona is it's going through a transactional like period because they now are playing a lot more young players on their team because they can spend money. They are like we already mentioned in this podcast and this episode. They are losing a lot of money. They have huge debts, so they are now investing again in young players. And Trincão fits well this project, and it's going to be a very important piece, in my opinion, for Barcelona in the future. The other one, like you picked, is Pedro Neto, and like Trincão, I think Pedro Neto is really young and has already proof proof himself. So I think Trincao has a lot to prove yet. He's promising and he showed he has quality, but he has to prove himself. Pedro Neto, he doesn't need to prove himself. I mean, like he has been playing really well for Wolves, and he got I think this season his first internationalization for Portugal, his first caps for Portugal, and it's a shame that now his injury he'll probably not make it to Euro 2020, which is which is a shame. I would love to see him play for Portugal in during the Euro. It would be very important, I think, and I mean it's a shame, but it's been a pleasure to see him play for Wolves this season. It's amazing what he can do, how quick he is, how quick he thinks, how quick he takes his decisions, the way he dribbles, the skills he has. I mean, it's a player with a bright future and, in my opinion, a very complete winger. He has it all, and and he also fits really well in the way Wolverhampton plays. So maybe if he moves to another club, it will be different. He would pass through a adaptation phase, but I mean he has the quality there, and Portugal plays in a different way from Wolverhampton, and he played really well for Portugal. So those are my four picks, and I'm excited to see what they can do in the future. We'll hear about them for sure in the next few years. They are probably, if they correspond to their expectations, they'll go to win some major trophies in the world of football.
Yeah, lots of young players, lots of bright futures. So we also asked our Instagram followers to tell us who they think have the brightest futures for America and for Portugal. So first up we have uh Marty
I,
Mavel the
I
Magic.
can say
Yeah.
I can say the
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Uh, we have Martin Village. He Magic. He's one of my friends, so he probably
Ah,
went
okay.
there to post some to comment something. I think he picked Diogo Jota and Pulisic, right? If I'm not
Yeah, for
mistaken.
Portugal, for Portugal he picked Diego Jota and João Felix. For America he picked Christian Pulisic and Giovanni Reina or McKennie. Either one he's fine with.
Yeah,
Next up, yeah.
yeah,
Next up we
continue,
have
sorry.
next up we have Foot Picks Illustrator. He picked one for each. He picked actually no, he picked two. For Portugal he picked Diego Jota and Ronaldo Sanchez, and for America he picked the same as me, Giovanni Reina and Sergio Dest. So I agree with him. Ronaldo Sanchez, I also think he has a bright future. Um, so Foo7 Ball Freak, he has he picked McKennie and Pedro Neto. I agree with him. McKennie has been doing really well with Juventus, and I think he's really shown that. I think honestly, in my opinion, he should be a starter for Juve. I think he's doing really well with them overall. Memes Football 10. He picked Pulisic, this for America. Pedro Neto and Ronaldo Sanchez for Portugal because Felix is doing great and has proven himself. Yeah, that's what I agree with him. I think Felix has already proven himself. What a type of a player he is. So I think Ronaldo Sanchez is pretty young as well as Pedro Neto, as we said before. I think they're both really good players, and I think they'll do really well with Portugal if they choose them for future international competitions. Successfully said Dest. I agree with him as well. Great right back. Oh, this is the first time we have a few things different. AFC Review said Yunus Musa for America and Jolson Fernandez for Portugal. I
Yeah,
think, yeah, I agree with his choices. Go on.
yeah. Like that, he actually went to the point of the of the question, because like those two players, they aren't even like I don't think they even play at a senior level, right? At least Joelson Fernandez,
I think so,
it's
yeah.
at youth level of Sporting, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, they haven't proved yet themselves, and it's going to be interesting to see them rising to the senior teams in the future.
Yeah, I think they have a very, very bright future. So I really like AFC Review's answer. Maka talks football. McKenny, he said. I agree with him also. That was a previous answer as well. McKenny doing really well. Daily Blue Lions, Neto and Pulisic. I once again agree with him. Pulisic has done really well in his first year in Chelsea. This season, his form has dropped a bit, but I still think he can do well. He still has a bright future. Now, last one, Madrid still forever 008. Joao Felix and Jota for Portugal. Pulisic and McKenny for America. I knew someone was gonna pick Pulisic and McKenny. You know, they're obviously the two most famous, the most popular American players. Yeah, they're really good players. You know,
Yeah,
Joao Felix also and Jota. Jota has been absolutely brilliant with Liverpool this season. You know, because of his injury, I think honestly he would have been able to score so many more goals. But every time he goes onto the pitch, he just shows what he's worth. He's worth his money. He just scores those goals. So yeah, I think him and Mohamed Salah scoring all the goals for Liverpool, really, really carrying Liverpool this season.
yeah. I mean, it's normal. Like those two players have been in everyone's eyes for a long time, and they prove themselves. It's not like I mean, like Pedro Neto or Giovanni Reina. They have proved themselves in their clubs, but they have a lot more to do and a lot more to show. So it's not like Pulisic. I mean, he has been so good for Dortmund, so good for Chelsea. We already know the quality that he has, and he is a top player right now, and he's very young. But those players like Pedro Neto or Giovanni Reina, for example, are two good players that have played really well recently, and they have proved that they can be good, but they have to do a lot more to show how good they are and that they are world class players too.
Yeah, yeah. I think you just said everything about those two players. You know, they're really good players. I think they have a bright future, a really bright future. And yeah, you know, really hope they do well in the future. I hope we can see them hopefully in future competitions, international competitions, and hopefully we can see them at a top level club. Hopefully at one point in the future. And I really do hope that. Anything else you would like to say?
No, I don't think so. I only have to say to all of you, thanks a lot for your comments and participations on this challenge, let's say like that. And we are very lucky to have some followers like you that at least take some time to comment our posts and try to participate and join our challenges. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, thank you. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. That's where we posted the question at the Touchline Report. Make sure to follow us. We also have a Twitter. And yeah, that's also the Touchline Report. And make sure tell your friends. You know, follow us on Instagram. You know, we'll be posting more challenges hopefully for next time as well. And yeah, be on the lookout for we post every day. You know, we also have posts on our story. And yeah, and looks like we have one more question. So, who do you think is the youngest talent in football right now?
The youngest of that's a really difficult question, but
Yeah,
I mean I'm going to the best young player right now. Do you have like anything at the top of your tongue? Like, I mean, I can make a list of about like a
yeah,
hundred
same.
players. Like, it's
I'm just saying one that's a teenager, Phil Foden. That's the first one that came to my mind. Phil Foden doing really well with Manchester City. Now he's a starter. You know, only I think he's 20 years old now. He's still already a starter. Brilliant left foot, brilliant accuracy, scoring. He's only the fifth English player to score in both legs of a Champions League knockout stage. You know, now he's also a go-to player for England's national team. I think he has a very bright future ahead of him. He's only 20 years old. He can play for like 10, 15 more years. He has so much left in him. So yeah, I think and that's just the first one that came to my mind. As Manuel said, I can make a list of players. It'll take me a week or so just to pick out who I think the best one is. But in the few seconds I have, Phil Foden. What about you, Manuel?
yeah. I'm going to say Eduardo Camavinga. he's really young. I think he's
Yeah.
about he's still 18 years old, and he has been playing for Rennes, I think, for the first team for almost 2 years, and he has been a very crucial player on the way they play. And although we haven't been talking a lot about him, especially because this season his team hasn't been performing that well, and that's one of the reasons he might actually leave the club at the end of the season, especially because also the coach that promoted him to the senior team also left the club this season. And but I mean, he has been a very important piece for Stade Rennes, and he's like a octopus. I know I'm always saying that, but he's everywhere on the field, and he also managed to participate a lot on the attacks of Stade Rennes. So I think he probably is the youngest talented football player right now, for
Yeah,
sure.
if we had more time, we can think about this for a long time, make a list of players, eliminate each one after every day, and just pick one of the best players, whoever we think. But top of my head right now, I have to say Phil Foden, and you'd have to say Kamavinga. I agree with you, Kamavinga, one of the best young talents in the world. I think he already has one or two caps with France, playing in the
Yeah.
Nations League a few times. Yeah, I think he has a bright future. I've heard that rumors that he's going to go to Real Madrid. Real Madrid want him at least. You know, it's a possibility, very young. Real Madrid could use him, I guess he could fill in that wing position, That's a bit where Real Madrid have been struggling in past seasons, on the wing. They don't have too many consistent wingers to provide Benzema time and time again. So yeah, I think Camavinga could do really well there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, like he could also help them win the Super League for sure. Uh, but yeah, yeah. And the only thing is that he hasn't been in like the world's radar because
Yeah.
Stadtrennes is not in any like big competition. Like they left
Yeah.
Champions League and all of that, and they are not performing very well in Liga. But he's a really good player.
Yeah, it's looking likely that Rennes won't be able to qualify for any European competition next season. That's what it's looking like as of now.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's all we have for today, everyone. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, like the video. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Touchline Report. And yeah, you guys can compete, polls and stuff like that we could be using in future videos, hopefully. And then we can always shout you out if you choose to compete in those polls and competitions, things like that. And thank you for everyone who commented, Raja, Ahmed, RHG. With that being said, podcast and the Black Beast. Thank you all for commenting and sharing your thoughts and asking questions. Those are really good questions. And yeah, make sure to follow us, subscribe, and I really hope you guys enjoyed the video.
yeah. Thanks everyone for all the support, and stay tuned for our social medias. Thanks for all the support, for watching the stream, for commenting both in our posts and during the stream, and especially stay safe and stay and continue to support us and follow us because we'll always bring you something interesting to talk about and about football. So thanks a lot
See you
and
guys
see
next
you.
Saturday.
See you.
Yeah, see you guys next Saturday.